Hi everyone, I'm Tara. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be showing you how to navigate through some of the updates as of June 2022 in Cricut Design Space. There are new outlines and bars around the text as well as images. So let's get right into Cricut Design Space and let me help you try and figure this out and navigate through the new update.
So here we are in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to go to the top right corner and I'm going to click on New Project. And then I'm going into Images. I'm going to select Heart and Free Designs, and then, in Shapes, and then in Images, I'm going to just click on Animals. Let's just click on Other Animals. Let's click on a free image that anyone could have access to. Let's grab that cute little porcupine, add him to the canvas. Okay, so instantly I want to resize him because he's so big. Let's just zoom out just a little bit so you can see. So previously there was an X button where you could delete, there was arrows, there were different things that we could do and click on that are no longer there. What we see now is these four little boxes in the corners of our image. I'm just going to scoot this over so you can see. And I'm going to arrow out just a little bit further so you can see. So we have four little boxes in each corner. And what you can do, as you can see, I've got my little mouse cursor here. If you hover over these little boxes, it's going to give you arrows so that you can click down on your mouse, hold on, and then move the image that you have selected. Now, if you want to move the image all uniformly and resize it all together, then no big deal. Super simple, just hover over one of the boxes and then hold down your mouse and move accordingly to whatever size you need it. Now, up in the top hand panel here where it says size, the W stands for width, the H stands for height in inches. So let's say you wanted to change this to 7 inches in width and you type in 7, you hit enter, okay, it just moved it a little tiny bit. Let's do even more significant. Let's do 12 inches and then click enter. Okay, so everything moved together. So that letter moved and our little guy moved. But let's say we wanted to actually stretch this out and we wanted to grab onto it and stretch it and move it around. Like I feel like I want to be able to grab this bottom middle here and just stretch and pull and be able to make this image larger. What you actually have to do now is go back up to the sizing area and click unlock. And you still will not be able to grab in the middle like I feel like I want to resize this. You will have to hover back over to the corner, and even though the arrows are just going corner to corner, you can still pull down and stretch this out so it's vertically growing to whatever size you would like it to be. Or vice versa, even though the arrows are going corner to corner, if you click down and you pull horizontally, it's going to stretch your image out horizontally. Or because it's in the unlock, say you know your specs, you know exactly how many inches you want, you can just go ahead and type them in while it's unlocked. So let's say you want it to be 12 inches wide and you want the height to be 18 inches. Then you type in 18, hit enter, and that's going to do it for you. Now, let's say you want this little porcupine to stay the same size he is, however you want to change the size of the E. What you will do is click over into the upper right-hand corner where it says Layers, and you're going to click on Group. And then what you will do is you're going to click the Shift button, scroll down to where you only see the E, and you're going to, while holding on one finger on the Shift button, you're going to click onto the E, so that's the only thing selected, and then you can resize the E separately from the rest of the image. Okay, So hopefully that helps you with some of the sizing with the images. And then just to put this all back together, just to show you, to hover back over, select your porcupine and the little leaf, and then click group. That's going to bring them back together, and then you can put your little image however you would like for the sizing that you would prefer. Okay, now I'm just going to use the simple little free shape of the heart to go over a couple other different options with the new update in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to take my heart, and so obviously you can hover over and you can pick any of these corners and it will stretch your image to whatever size that you need it to. However, again, let's say you want the height to be a little bit different. You'll have to go up to the size, click unlock, and then you can adjust the height and width in inches separately. So let's say I want the height to be 6 inches, and I'm going to type in 6 and click the arrow key. You can also arrow up and down as well for images or shapes or text, which we will get to the text in just a minute. The other thing is rotation. So we had a rotation option in our previous box that would show up around our images, and it's not there. It's just the 4 little squares. So like I said, when you hover over a box, it'll have little arrows for you to be able to stretch your image, whether it's locked or unlocked. Then just kind of hover back a little bit further and you'll be able to see the rotation arrow. So then once you see that, you just click onto your mouse and then you can turn and rotate. Another thing you can do is you can see right next to the sizing, you can arrow up and down with rotation. And this is going to be 360 degrees, so we're starting at 0 degrees. Let's say you knew you wanted to rotate your image 45 degrees. You would simply just select over that 0, type in 45, and hit enter, and it's going to angle to 45 degrees. As well as if you wanted to make it upside down, then you would type in 180 and click enter, and it's going to turn it upside down for you, and so on and so forth. Or you can just arrow it up and down, or again, you just hover a little bit outside of that square and you can rotate your image. So that's how you can use this new update in Cricut Design Space with basic shapes and images. Now I want to get into text. So let's go ahead and delete my images here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click in the text. Now, without touching anything else, just clicking the text, before we would actually have to arrow back, now what you can do is you can just simply start typing. So I'm going to type in the word Cricut, and I'm going to click out of it. Now let's say you wanted to add more wording to it. So I want to actually type Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to go back over here, double click. That's going to make it blue again so that you know that you're actually in. If I don't click again, then it's going to start me all over to try to type in a whole new word. Okay, so let's start over. So I'm going to do text. I'm going to type in Cricut. I'm going to click out. I want to go back in. I'm going to double click. And then to add to the text, I have to, after I've double clicked and I see that it's highlighted, then I'm going to click one more time, and then you can see a little flashing cursor. And then I'm going to click space and type in Design Space. Okay. So let's say I want to size. You're going to have to go back up just like we did with the images and click the unlock, and then go back down, hover over these little square boxes. Even though they are only pointing to the corners, you can pull straight down and it will stretch your text for you. As well as you can pull horizontally, vertically, and it's going to stretch your text. if you want to manually stretch it and kind of move it around like that. Or, as always, you can also manually arrow up when it's in the unlock position, arrow up your width separately and arrow down and up your height separately. Another feature with this new update is wrap, text wrap, which when it's in the unlock position, you will not be able to do. So you're going to have to click lock, and then to do the text wrap, you'll see this extra little rectangle in between the squares. When you pull the side rectangle, it's going to help you with your text wrap. So it's already in one line, but to put it in separate lines, I just back it up until it moves each word into its own line. And you can even go as far as pushing it back to where you're going to have letters in their own separate line. And then as well as, stretching them out into just one row if you have like a whole long sentence. So that is basically the basic design changes in Cricut Design Space. There is also alignment where you can change the space that this is created within. You can move it to center, you can move it to top, bottom, you can align it to the right, you can align it to the left, and you can align it center. You also still have your option of curve, and you'll simply click on the curve button right next to alignment, and you will move the diameter, whether you want your curve to go upward or downward, and you'll just kind of slide that along to see which way you would prefer your design to go. But you can still do that. That is how you go about it, just simply clicking on the curve feature while your font is selected. And also, speaking of font, to simply change the font, you're just going to go and click, as long as you're clicked into the word like this, you don't have to actually have it highlighted, you can change the font. So we can change it to whatever we like. That's a bigger font, zoom back, and simply change the font like that. Super easy. So there are some really good benefits of the Cricut Design Space update. However, I'll be honest, I'm someone that really doesn't enjoy change, and I'm a little resistant to change. So it's going to take a little bit getting used to the changes in Cricut Design Space. For those of us that have been creating for years, it'll take us a minute to get adjusted. Now, I'm just noticing that my CR is not lined up there. Okay, let's go to ungroup, and I want to see if I can just move my letter over. Oh yeah, so if you are doing a wrap like that, or not a wrap, it's actually a curve, in your font is pulling apart like that and not staying welded, then just ungroup your letters, move that letter back so that cursive font is Kerned font, and then group it back together. Oh, very nice. Okay, so hopefully I have really helped you with some of the new Cricut Design Space updates. If there are any further questions, or if there's something that you have seen that you're confused about and I did not touch on it in this video, please leave your questions or comments in the comment section below of this video, and I will try and answer them the best I can, or create a follow-up video to help you with your crafting and creating in Cricut Design Space with all the updates and changes. And as always, Cricut Design Space is ever changing, so by the time you watch this video, they have maybe even made more updates and changes.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If at any point you found some inspiration and benefit, make sure you give this a like. I always appreciate it. And comment below if you have any further questions or thoughts about Cricut and their new update. And as always, make sure that you check out another one of my videos.